Hello, everyone. Are we connected? Starting the stream up here. Give it just a minute. Make sure we are, in fact, connected and rolling. While that's going on, hello, everyone. I'm Stuart. I'm the lead artist over at Unbound, and I'm excited to welcome everyone to the second Unbound Remix live stream. We've got a whole bunch of really cool models that were submitted by the community. Andrea kicked off the first one and wound up remixing this very cool luchador with a pudding head that was submitted by Gmon, which we very much appreciate. Hello, Andrea. I'll give everyone a minute here to sort of join in the chat, and then I'll open one of these files and start remixing. But you can see up here in my recent files, we've got this whole wonderful collection of user-submitted models. Very cool stuff here, lots to work with. I don't have an exact plan for the live stream today, but I think what I'm going to do is grab a little bit from a lot of these different character models and kind of throw them all into one scene and mix and match and grab some of the good parts from each of the individual models and yeah, see what we can't come up with live and create something fun and interesting for you guys. So why don't we jump into it? I think what I'm going to do, I can't help but start with this wonderful muscle-bound pudding head guy that we created last stream. What I think I'm also going to do is grab some elements from this wonderful monster that Metin submitted. I really love the lighting in this scene. Very, very cool. So I'm just going to copy, paste. Whoops. So actually, see, I just grabbed the body. What I want to do is do a marquee selection here. Make sure I have everything selected. Don't think I do. There we go. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste that whole guy over here and hit G to go to the world-oriented gizmo. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to select all these and I'm going to hit P and just parent that so they're all in one easy to grab group. Why don't I also modify the scale here a little bit? Oops. I'm going to hit G again so they all scale uniformly. And while I'm at it, let's also save as so I don't ruin this wonderful work. That's right, Sean. Remixing the remix. So let's call this Stuart's Muscle Remix. Save new. Saved, really. We promise. All right, so we got a sad guy here, but I don't think the lips are prominent enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into this model. I'm going to cut those lips out. Sounds like a painful surgery, but it's not, I promise. All right, and we've got some issues here with symmetry and mirroring, but I think we can figure that out fairly quickly. Let's get these things mirrored up. And let's center the pivot. Beautiful lips. Whoa, what happened here? So I accidentally centered the pivot on this model, which is not what I want to do. So I'm going to hit X and then escape. Then I'm going to paste it again. So now we have it as an individual model, which is what I intended. Let's center the pivot again. Get this, whoops. Get this mirrored up. Okay, now we're talking. Because I think this guy needs a big, unhappy frown face. If anyone has any ideas about what I should be doing with these creations, don't hesitate to drop them in the chat. I won't necessarily follow the recommendations, but I'd certainly love to hear them. All right. Also, I love the idea of a mask here, but I want to try my hand at making my own mask. So let's delete that hair. Let's delete these eyes too. I've got different plans for the eyes. And why don't let's see what else we have going on here. Maybe there's some other eyes we can grab. Now, this green monkey, who I think was it Kaisel? Who submitted this? Remind me if this is yours. Very cool face here. So I'm going to grab this head and bring it over here. And let's see how this is built. I love how flexible and easy it is to just grab elements from different models. And you don't really have to worry about the triangles or the polys or merging things or creating bridges. You can kind of just grab things and merge and mix them. It's really kind of a smooth and convenient way to work in a lot of ways. So let's see. I think so. It's the best way to do this. Grab everything except for that. So what I did is I double clicked into the model. I hit Control A to select all. Now I'm just going to deselect the models that I don't need, which are the ears, the face, and these little leaves. Cut and paste those. Let's see what we have here. Cool. So now we've separated out the facial components. I think we just need to modify the roundness here a little bit so we can get all of those facial features shown here. Looks like they're all paint edits, which is, I mean, talk about an easier way to work with surface details. Forget UV mapping. Let's just grab some stuff and stick it right onto the model, huh? All right. So I think what we can do, I'm going to parent this to the head. Then I'm going to grab this and conveniently click these to just zero out the scale and the location. This guy's looking pretty ticked off. And now, don't need the mouth here. And I'm just going to cut all of these, double click into this head model, and just paste them right in. Looking kind of crazy here at the moment, but I think we can blend some things, change a few colors, really whatever we want to do. In fact, what happened if we just lost that piece? Yeah, I think I like this a little better. Then I'll take all these facial features. I use the F key a lot. You saw how my view changed right there. I hit the F key a lot because that's just going to focus the camera on whichever model I have selected. Very useful. Let's push up the resolution a little bit on this guy. I think this is all one model at the moment, right? So I'm going to separate these face components out, just make a new model there. Just pretty easy. I'm just going to hit Control X, deselect, paste again, new model right where I need it, easy peasy. And let's grab the eye. Cool. I want to change the shape of this face a little bit, at least that highlighted part. So I'm going to turn this cone into a paint edit. Let's bring it up here, make it pointier. Now we've got kind of a widow's peak thing going on. We should do the same. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to do the same. I'm going to add another cone. Let's center that out. Let's round that nose out a bit. Maybe it's a little longer. We use this handy dandy eyedropper. Maybe a little bit of blend. Get a nice nose going. I think I want to gradate out to kind of a rosier color at the tip of this nose. You see, another thing I do a lot is, especially if I'm using paint edits, I'll just take what I have, copy it, and paste it right into position. So I find that a lot of times with 3D modeling, the hardest thing to do or one of the more time-consuming things is getting your edit in place. So instead of just grabbing something and placing it, a lot of times it's easier to just kind of copy and paste what you have and then modify as needed. But anyway, there's our rosy-nosed wrestler, looking buff and tough. What else? Maybe these eyebrows could be a little angrier looking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a spline here. Now, talk about favorite features. This is one of my favorite things. It's a pretty new feature. It allows you to quickly and easily draw with splines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert this paint sphere edit here. And I'm also, before I start getting into the spline editing, I'm going to turn on surface snapping. So that way I know I'm drawing right on the surface of this model. And then I can do really kind of a wacky eyebrow there. We can also reposition and scale these independently. So I can get a little bit of a taper on this eyebrow, which is important. He's going to the salon. He might be muscle bound, but he cares about his eyebrows too. Let me take a quick peek at the chat here. What's going on? Hey, Imp Space. Hey, Piombo. How we doing? Mudkit. Did that bake the visuals of another model onto the texture of a different non-destructively? Yeah, it's all non-destructive. That's what's cool about this, is you can just grab pieces, and I mean, here, I'll show you. You can just grab sphere and change the color, blend it in, and it's all wonderful live SDF 3D without any UVs or annoying polys. All right, let's bring some other components in. As much as I love this tablecloth and plate, I'm going to lose it for the time being. And you know what we had? We had some really nice grass here. So I'm going to borrow this grass from Metten's wonderful project. And right now we've got the default lighting going on. So once I modify this model a little more, I'm going to add some more custom lighting and background scenery, stuff like that. But all right, let's see. What else can we pull from here? Look at this. It's from I think this is a nod to our pals at Dreams there. Looks like we've got color eyes going on here, which I'm just going to turn down. Go to a more orangey color palette. Why don't we also turn mirroring on? Let's see. I'm going to parent this to the sphere again, or to the head rather, and center it out. And since we've got mirroring turned on, those should really both be evenly spread. nice little antlers. Little antlers going on. Very cool. All right. Let's get this guy out of here. I think we've done enough with that. I'm going to go with a color change on the body here. What do you think? And again, we're skipping all the hassle of modifying UVs and all that stuff. I don't need to go into a separate program. I can just grab what I need right from an Unbound and continue modeling. Okay, what color shorts are we working with here? Something bold. I'm going to just add a little bit of variation in the color here. It's kind of like shading. Looking at the chat here. It's kind of moving, hard to keep up. All right. So let's play with our environment here a little bit. I typically like to go pretty dark on this bottom, maybe somewhere in the middle, but adding some color for the center. Kind of a middle value. And then I like to sometimes go a little bit warm and light with the top of the sky. And what you can see is what we get is we get a nice gradient from our top color to our bottom color. And I'll bring it down just a little bit. And what I might do is grab our sunlight. Let's modify that a little bit. Add a little bit of warmth here. Nice. So I think what I might also do is take another crack at these hands. They're pretty good. They're pretty stylized. I hope you won't take any offense, Andrea. Let's redo these a little bit. I'll try not to get too fussy with it, but I think we can do a quick improvement. Let's see what happens. All right. So I just copied and pasted that, slid it down so I'd have it pretty much in place. I'm going to right-click on this cube, which automatically converts whichever primitive I have selected into the one I've right-clicked on, which is kind of nice. And I'm going to use this as a basis for the palm area. Let's kind of round that out. Not too bad. And then, you know what? Let's make a separate model. So I'm going to hit X or Command X. I'm going to cut it, paste it back into place. I'm going to add a little sphere here, and that's going to be the beginning of our thumb. Let's turn on symmetry mirroring there. Let's blend it a little bit. And I don't even have to start setting up a spline here. What I really like is I can just hit Y, and then boom. We're drawing a thumb. Just that easy. And I'm going to do that same thing again. Let's double click in. Let's add a sphere. A little bit larger. Let's blend it just a touch. Find a nice angle. I'm going to turn snapping off here because we don't need it. Bam, bam, bam. That's sort of a finger. I think we need to modify it a bit here. And we're not doing photo realism here, obviously, but might be able to step up that block hand just a little bit. We'll add some fingers. Get that position, maybe a touch more blend. I'm just going to hit Command D and duplicate it. Maybe I'll scale this one up a little bit. I'll hit Command D again. Scale this one down as a pinky. So it doesn't need to be as big. All right, and let's throw on mirroring. It's not the greatest hand you've ever seen, but it only took me 3 minutes to make it, so save your critiques. RIP cube hands. Sorry, Andrea. That's why I saved as. We haven't lost them. They're just in a different file. All right. I'm going to take off a little bit of the shine here. Let's roughen that guy up a little bit. Looking cool. Right. Now what else can we do? Let's try this. Maybe we can pose this guy a little bit. So I'm going to make a copy. And I'm not duplicating. I'm hitting Command or Control C and Control V. I'm going to actually copy it because I'm going to modify this one. And I want to save this older version. So here's what we're going to do. Turn off mirroring. And I'm going to turn off mirroring for this arm too. I'm going to hit cut. Hit paste. So now I've got the arm as a separate model. I'm going to parent the hand to this arm. Then I'm going to grab this whole thing and hit Command D. And then I'm just going to add a negative to the scale here. And boom, we've got another arm, right? And so what I want to do is let's give this guy a little bit more of a dramatic pose, right? I mean, we're talking about a real wrestling champ, muscle maniac. Got to hit him with that bicep flex, right? Show us what you're working with. If only it were this easy to build real biceps. The guns. Welcome to the gun show. What I'm going to do is I'm going to convert this guy to a cone. It's going to be a little bit more of a natural arm shape so that we get a little bit of taper down to the wrist. Let's round it out a little. Let's turn down cone a bit. We don't need quite that much taper. Oops. I'm going to take both of these arms, parent them to the body. and maybe get a little bit of an angle to the torso. Whoops. Let's parent the lips to the head. Let's move this a little bit. And what I'll also do, so let's copy this sphere and make a little bit of a neck. And most of that's going to be buried, but I want to give us just a little bit of a neck for closing this head. I'm going to do the same thing on these legs here. I'm going to turn off mirroring. I'm going to cut them out of the current model, hit paste, and now I've got two, well, I'll have two. I've got one leg here that I can independently pose, and I'm going to duplicate that, add a negative value to the scale. Made a mistake there. Let's go. There we are. And now what I can do is have a little bit more of an interesting pose. And we've broken our symmetry. But that's all right. Just making little modifications here. All right, cool. Now, let's see. There's an opportunity to bring in some more of these fun creations here. So we want Zombie Boy. There's so much cool stuff to work with. Let's see. I know what I'll do. Let's make him an opponent that has some of these features as well. So, I'm going to grab some of these cool facial features. I'll apply them to this guy. So, now this is copied and pasted, so these are no longer linked. So I'm going to make a muscle-bound wrestling opponent for our buddy here, and we'll pose them against one another in an epic battle for all the marbles. Oh, that's a good idea. Get some add some hairy splats on it. Let's do it. Cool. All right. So to start, before I forget, let's copy and paste these facial features in. We're going to use these in just a minute. Let's change the color here. What color are we working with? Let's say we got yellow. Let's go yellow and blue. Right. I'm definitely going to take that suggestion and make this a hairy fella. Fluff those splats. Bump them up a little bit. Add some variation in color. All right, look at this fluffy brawler here. All right, so let's grab all of these elements. And again, I'm going to hit P, and I'm click on this to parent them. Then I'm going to grab all of these, and I'm just going to zero them out. You'd think that would work. What's going on here? Set pivot. So I just did that to make sure my pivot was centered here. And theoretically, I'm doing it one at a time. There we go. Well, we're getting everything centered, and we'll line it all up properly in a minute. Nice. I love these horns. Very imposing. Probably an unfair advantage in a wrestling match to have sharp horns like this, but no rules, right? And it's cool because you know these models that I'm grabbing from the community gave me a lot to work with, but it's still really easy to modify and change colors and push and pull and get what I need out of them. It's highly customizable, which is really great. All right, maybe one more of these. Now these I'm hitting Control D. These are linked models. They're duplicates. So when I grab one, change the color to orange, they'll all follow suit. Wonderful. All right. Now let's give these big eyes some pupils. Turn down blending. I'm going to right click on this scale button here just to make sure they're a perfect circle again. There's something with the scaling that happened, but I wanted to reset that. And just a bit of blend to kind of soften that. I'm also going to turn up the resolution on these eyes because why not? Touch of blend. I'm going to copy and paste that into place. Get a little bit of a gradient on the eye here. Let's turn that blend up. Cool. Now we need a mouth, but instead of a mouth that has lips that sit on the surface there, what I'll do is add kind of a recessed, carved in mouth. I just grabbed that cone, which was pretty close to where I wanted it anyway. I'm going to position it in the mouth and make it a negative edit and just mess with the scaling and the roundness here. We're going to have a big kind of toothy grimace, which is going to be great. Let's change the roundness just a touch. Scale it appropriately. And what I like to do also is we can kind of make the interior a little darker and a little redder. I'll add just a touch of blending. And then I'm going to add a new model here. Some chompers. Make them shiny. Maybe even a little metallic. Bring them forward here. A little bit of roundness. And let's just duplicate those. Duplicate them again, the whole group. So we've got this toothy grimace here as he's going to battle. And actually, maybe this is such a battle-hardened wrestler that we're missing a tooth there. That works. Nice. And last but not least, a little bit of a nose. Nice. Those are two foes if I've ever seen them. So now let's group these. Let's see what's grouped and not. Just the teeth on the head, so that's great. Grab those teeth, parent them to the head. Let's do the same thing we did before, and we'll kind of separate some of these elements out. So we'll grab the leg, cut it, deselect my model. I'm actually going to turn off symmetry, duplicate. Mirror it. The same thing. We're gonna make custom kind of asymmetrical pose here. I think this guy's gonna have bigger legs though. He doesn't skip leg day quite so much. All right. Now, you may be shocked to learn that I'm just kind of making this up as I go. Kind of improvising here. So we've got a separated hand model. Let's grab these arms, cut, paste, turn off mirroring, parent, select, duplicate, hit negative. Boom. Okay, now we've got a much more posable character. Now, probably show them rumbling, no? Again, I'm just doing some parenting just to make these a little easier to work with. And same thing here. Let's grab these and parent to the torso, head to the torso, parent the legs to the shorts, and then the shorts to the torso. And now we've got a wrestling partner. Maybe he's kind of pulling back to throw a punch. Maybe he's grabbing a forearm, trying to block something. Who knows? It's dangerous out there. Pretty cool. Excuse me. Now that we've got our combatants in the last little bit of the stream here, why don't we kind of sweeten up this scenery and see if we can't... Actually, I have an idea. Let's see how quickly I can model a wrestling ring. I don't know exactly what they look like, but we're going to kind of figure it out. Start with some cubes. Oh, there's the mat. Oops. Wrong handle. I like to hold T here, do a little box scaling. Convenient and easy. And we should probably have some posts. So I'm going to add a cylinder, one of our handy new primitives. Very nice. It's probably too big. Let's throw in a little mirroring because we're going to need a symmetrical 4. Duplicate that. Bring it over here. Maybe these go to like a kind of a dark purple color. We're also going to need some ropes. So let's set up a little spline here. This will be like a light yellow kind of color. Get it lined up. And then string them up. Actually, what I'm going to do is let's scale this. And you can see that our splines are actually just comprised of lots of little repetitions, which actually in this instance works really well to give us some rope-like texture. Now, typically what you do is if you want something smooth, you just modify the amount of repetitions here. So basically we're dealing with a cloner that has a lot of features, right? And since I kind of like this ropey effect, I'm going to turn on the blend just a little bit. Boom. Got the ropes. Now I'm just going to duplicate those down. Actually, I'm going to make a quick modification before I duplicate those, get things kind of evenly spaced here. Maybe add a few more repetitions. There we go. Now, let's clone them. Nope, we got an extra there. I'm going to parent these to the top one. And I'm going to duplicate. And you'll see we've got a little bit of a wave to them, which actually shouldn't be too much of a pain to fix because everything's duplicated. We just kind of line that up, looking better. I'm going to duplicate both of these at once. Rotate. Boom. Now maybe there's a little graphic in the bottom here, so I'm going to copy and paste that square. Let's turn it into a sphere and make it a paint. And we got like a, no, that's too dark. Nice. And so with this kind of setup, what I think we want to do, the last couple minutes here, is let's kind of fake a stadium environment, right? So let's go to stage and our environment. Let's turn the environment down. Make it a little darker. I'm going to go even darker on these colors too. Nice. Let's go real yellow at the top. Get some warm highlights. And here's our sunlight. Get some kind of dramatic overhead lighting. Now that highlight is a little harsh for me, so I'm going to turn up the roughness on this matte. And let's add some other lights. I always like to add a bunch of additional lights. Now we can have kind of a low intensity sunlight here for kind of an edge light. And I think we can play with the exposure here. Let's go like really contrasty, right? And we can have a more dramatic lens. Let's drop the focal length of that lens, get a really dramatic angle here, some sort of fisheye effect. Let's add some additional lights too. So I'm going to add some lamps, which are great because they let you control kind of the direction. You'll see, let's turn up the intensity and the radius, turn down the hardness and wideness, and you'll see getting, it's kind of like a spotlight here, right? And that kind of makes sense for stadium. Oops. So I'm going to throw some very intense, very colorful lights on these guys as we sort of finish out our scene here. Just adjusting some things. Let's turn up the contrast and saturation a little bit. And also might as well center these fools in the ring. Now, lights like these are a great way to add a little bit of color variation too. So I'm gonna, let's see, turn down the yellow on my sunlight. And then with lighting and texturing, it's always kind of a push and pull. It's always a mix of your lens effects, your camera setup, your lighting setup. You can see we get some nice kind of saturated lighting being cast on these wrestlers. All right, pretty cool. I guess you know what else we can do is play with a bit of bloom. Too much? Just a little bit, just a little bit. And we can also play with our depth of field. So let's get some little bit of blur on some of these ropes. We got our combatants right in the center of the ring, ready to square off. Super fun. And you can see how in, not even an hour, taking a handful of separate models, all submitted by the community, and combine them into something that's really fun and really unique and totally different than any one of the single creations that we started with. And just a super flexible and intuitive way to work with these 3D modeling tools in a way that, especially in a game development situation, instead of having to go back and forth to different software applications and doing your programming separately from your 3D modeling, this really gives us the ability to do everything right in one engine and skip all that back and forth, which can be super annoying. So yeah, so we're starting to run towards the end of our stream allotment here. I'm going to look through the chat. Admittedly, I haven't been keeping up with the chat as much as I should have. Let me see if I can answer a few questions here. And please submit some questions if you have any as we're kind of heading to a close here. Chocobo. Oh, we all love dreams, Dennis. Huge inspiration. Nice. Nice. Whoops. Right. So, yeah, I mean, I think this is the second of what I hope is going to be a much larger series. We love sharing the tool. We want to, show you how we use it, and we also, would love to see kind of the things that you're creating. So please keep submitting your creations and models to the gallery in our Discord. What you can see is actually, I'll do it right now. Is if you, let's see, I'll put it in a separate file. Where did I save this guy? So here's my remixed character, right? And if I, whoops, opens an old version of it, let's make sure we hit save. That's going to be important. And now what I can do is I can just hit share right here, and you'll be able to grab this file right from within our Discord. So I would encourage you all to do the same as you're creating, as you make things that you think would be fun to share with the community. Just for entertainment purposes, or for things that you think will actually be useful. You have a set of trees that you think would be great in someone's game. Share them. Let the community have fun and play. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in, and we'll be hopefully doing more of these again in the future. So thanks so much for tuning in. Head on over to Unbound.io and download this program for free if you haven't. It's super intuitive and fun and beginner friendly, so I'd encourage everyone to give it a try. Let us know what you think. And until next time, this is